name is Joon Lee.
I'm Joshua Johnson.
And welcome back to our next episode of
English Pop.
On this episode, we're going to tackle one of the harder challenges in the ELT educational field, and that's going to be the transition from our beginning learners of phonics into the real-world application of reading passages.
That's right. And so when students first learn how to read, they learn how to read by using phonics, where they can identify vowels and consonants. And once they can do that, then they read to learn, which is to acquire knowledge.
And that's going to bring into our new topic, Compass Publishing's first nonfiction reading. Now we're going to take the nonfiction in form of the text and put a contemporary spin onto it so our beginning learners can understand real-world applications with it. A good thing about this text is it's going to provide a wide range of different subjects from science to social science, music, and art. And it's going to allow students to incorporate their own experiences for each subject and topic.
That sounds really good, Joon. So you ready to check it out?
Yes, I am.
All right. It's English Pop.
First Nonfiction Reading is a 3-book series designed for young learners in the emergent-level learning to help them transition from phonics to reading. The series gives the learner the information in a straightforward and easy-to-understand way, while maintaining challenging multisensory activities to keep the learners motivated and alert. Learners become increasingly engaged with their connections with prior experiences, while building new understandings about the real world. The curriculum is further invigorated with the inclusion of cross-curricular content, including subjects of mathematics, science, social studies, physical education, fine arts, and music. Learners also benefit from the pedagogical structure of Content Language Integrated Learning, or CLIL, integrated into each unit. First Nonfiction Reading also supplements the reader's knowledge in the content with the use of both sight and phonics words.
So let's take a look at the student book for First Nonfiction Reading. Each book contains 16 units, and each book contains a wide variety of subjects from math to science to social studies. Each unit also features 2 phonics words and also 2 sight words. And also in the unit is 2 different kinds of writing activities, circle and write and also number and write. Each unit of the student book starts off with the big question. This helps the teacher to get students thinking about the topic and understand what they are about to learn. It's a great preview activity for students to start learning vocabulary. Next, we look at the keywords. Keywords build the students' core vocabulary around the topic of each unit. Students can use the keywords along with the grammar pattern to read, understand, and speak about the topic. And down below, we take a look at phonics words and sight words. Phonics and sight words are selected to develop students' reading fluency. Phonics words help students review phonics rules and help them transition from emergent to early level reading ability by reviewing, comparing, and contrasting phonics sounds. Sight words help students quickly recognize whole words and their meaning. Moving on to the reading passage, realistic fiction passages explore a large range of interesting topics rooted in nonfiction concepts. This helps students smoothly transition from fiction reading to nonfiction reading. All of the words in the reading are leveled and controlled so that students can gradually and steadily improve their reading ability. Keywords are highlighted and phonics concepts are presented with red text to help students focus on the main learning objectives of each unit. The last sentence of each passage is a fun, natural English expression that students learn in the context of the passage and can use in real life in the appropriate context. And finally, down below, we have the quick check. This exercise ensures that students understand points and details from the reading. Moving on, we have comprehension activities. This checks the student's understanding of the main idea and the details in the reading passage. By answering these questions, students develop and demonstrate their comprehension of the reading. Below, we have keywords practice. Students strengthen and solidify their vocabulary by reviewing keywords after the reading. Next, we have sentence practice. This helps students to reconstruct key grammatical patterns from the passage, along with the key words. And then we have speaking skills. Students consolidate and utilize the language they learn in the unit they practice speaking with short, simple dialogues.
We also have additional resources to use. At the back of the books, there are word lists and detachable flashcards provided. Word list. Students can review all of the words they have learned in each unit. They can build confidence by keeping track of how many words they learned in total. Detachable flashcards. Detachable flashcards provide students with a quick, easy, and fun way to learn, study, and remember all the key words and sight words from each unit. Teachers also can use these flashcards for activities in the classroom. Let's take a look at the workbook. First, keywords. Students practice reviewing the keywords by writing the word with the corresponding image. This solidifies their understanding of each keyword they learned. On the next page, we have key sentences. In this section, students recall key sentence patterns from the student book. They will then be asked to write them using the correct structures of fill-in-the-blank or sentence building.
Fun and easy-to-use reinforcement activities can be found in Class Booster for the first nonfiction reading series. Here, students can practice recycling the sight words and phonics words with the word match and word flash activities. Furthermore, students can practice the grammatical structures found in each reading passage, along with making inferences in the unscramble function. As a summary activity, students can reinforce their knowledge of the main ideas and concepts from the cross-curricular reading passages by taking a quiz after each unit. Finally, students can practice speaking and pronunciation skills with the built-in voice recognition feature for each sight word and phonics word encountered throughout the unit.
Now let's go and take a look at what First Nonfiction Reading provides for teachers materials and resources. Now with Class Booster, if you go to our Class Booster website, teachers can monitor the progress of the students with the teacher's report. On this report, metrics on each student's progress on each unit is going to be laid out in a simple and easy way. Additional materials can be found on our Compass website, and downloadable prints and resources are also there provided for free too. Some of the resources are going to be writing worksheets, lesson plans, planned syllabuses, we have audio download files that you can use, and also midterm tests and final quizzes for you to use in the classroom. Well, Joshua, how do you feel about our episode for today?
I feel really great about it. I thought it was very interesting to see the transition from students where they can learn to read to reading to learn. And also, being a teacher, I think it'd be really interesting to watch students make that transition and progression.
What I like about the book itself is that, as you mentioned, the teacher's perspective, there are a lot of different topics and different subjects that are presented in the book. It's not just one focus point, so it makes it much more interactive and much more of a wider experience for both students and teachers in the classroom.
Yeah, and nonfiction reading can sometimes be kind of boring and dull, but First Nonfiction Reading does a great job of featuring the treehouse characters in each unit. So it's a lot of fun, and it's real life type, stories, and I just couldn't get enough of each unit. It's so much fun.
I totally agree with you too, Josh. Well, thank you for joining us for today. My name is Joon Lee.
I'm Joshua Johnson, and we'll see you again next time on our season finale of English Pop. everyone. I'm Joshua Johnson.
And I'm Joon Lee.
Thanks again for watching English Pop. And if you like what you saw, please click below to subscribe.
You can also follow us on our Facebook and our Twitter accounts. And if you look at the description below, you'll see all of our links to our resources discussed in our series. And of course, we are always welcome to comments down below also.
And for all of our users in China, please don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here again next time on English Pop.